Once upon a time, on a bright Saturday morning, Toby Adewale stood in the grand hall of a hotel in Lagos. He wore a black suit that looked like it came from a movie. The hall was full of white flowers, golden chairs, and rich guests dressed in shiny clothes. Soft music played, and servers moved around with trays of drinks and plates of meat pies and puff-puff. Cameras flashed. Everyone smiled as if they were all in a happy dream. Toby tried to smile too. He held the hand of his bride, Kemi, who looked like a queen in her long white gown. She kept whispering to him, "Smile, Toby, everyone is watching us." Her fingers squeezed his hand hard, like she was reminding him to behave. Her face was painted perfectly, and her eyes moved around the hall, making sure that nothing was out of place. As Toby looked around, his mind felt heavy. He saw politicians laughing together, business owners talking about money, and his family wearing expensive lace. His mother sat at the front, nodding proudly at everyone who greeted her. His best friend Dealey stood nearby, dressed in a sharp suit, holding a glass of wine and greeting guests like the host. But Toby's heart was not calm. Under the music and laughter, he could hear another voice, one that came from the past. It was the voice of Nneka, the woman he used to call his wife. He remembered her laughter when they sat under a mango tree in the early days, when he had nothing but dreams. He remembered how she cooked for him, woke up early to pray for his success, and sold small bags of rice to help pay for his business. He remembered how she held his hand and looked at him with pure love. He also remembered how he let that love go. His mother started telling him that Nneka was too plain. His sisters laughed at her simple clothes. Dealey whispered that Nneka would embarrass him in front of rich friends. Then Dele brought fake messages that seemed to show Nneka with another man. Toby believed the lies. He didn't ask questions. He didn't give her a chance to explain. He shouted, cursed, and told her to leave his house. He threw her clothes outside while rain fell. She begged, and he looked away. That night stayed in his heart like a wound. Now, years later, he was about to begin a new life with Kemi. He tried to tell himself that this was the right choice. He was a billionaire now. He owned hotels, real estate, and many businesses. Kemi came from a rich family. She knew how to speak to his partners and smile at his investors. She was admired. Everyone said they looked perfect together. Everyone said she was the woman he deserved. The wedding ceremony began. A pastor prayed. Friends and family cheered. When the vows were spoken, Toby's voice trembled, but no one noticed because the hall was so loud. Kemi smiled widely and said, "I do," in a strong voice that echoed through the room. She lifted her chin and stared ahead, as if she was already the queen of his world. After the vows, the music became louder, and the reception started. The master of ceremony told jokes. Dancers came in with drums and sang songs about love and wealth. Guests raised their glasses, shouting, "Congratulations!" Toby nodded and shook hands, but his mind felt like it was walking on a narrow bridge. Then, something unexpected happened. A waiter spilled wine near the front of the hall. Red drops splashed onto the shiny floor. People murmured. Before any guest could complain, a cleaner walked out from a side door with a mop and a bucket. She wore a simple blue uniform. She bent down quietly and began to clean the mess, her hands moving quickly and gently. Toby turned by mistake and saw her. His body went cold. The music seemed to fade. He felt like someone had poured ice water down his back. The cleaner was pregnant. Her face was thinner than he remembered, and her skin looked tired, but her eyes were the same. She kept her head low as she wiped the wine, but when she looked up for a second to see if the floor was clean, her eyes met his. It was Nneka. Toby's heart stopped. The room around him seemed to freeze. He felt like he had fallen into a dream. In that moment, he forgot where he was. He forgot that he was holding Kemi's hand. He forgot that cameras were pointed at him. His lips moved, but no sound came out. He tried to say her name, but it was stuck in his throat. He took one step toward her before he even knew what he was doing. Kemi felt his hand move. She squeezed harder and whispered sharply, "Toby, what is wrong with you?" Toby didn't answer. He could not take his eyes off Nneka. He saw the curve of her stomach under the uniform. He saw how she pressed her lips together, hiding whatever pain was inside. He saw that she wore no ring. Neneka's eyes met his for a second. In that second, so many things passed between them without words. He saw surprise, hurt, strength, and something else he could not name. Then she looked down again and continued cleaning as if he was just another guest. Her hands moved calmly, but he could see her fingers trembling. The hall was full of laughter, but Toby could not hear it. He could hear only his own heartbeat and the soft sound of the mop on the floor. He stood still, his feet suddenly heavy. His mind raced, questions jumped inside his head. Why was she here? Why was she working as a cleaner? Whose child was she carrying? Why now, on his wedding day? Kemi tugged his arm again, harder this time. Toby, what are you doing? People are watching, she whispered through clenched teeth. Her eyes darted toward the guests, then back to him. Her smile had vanished, replaced by a look of fear and anger. Toby pulled his arm away from her grip. He took another step toward Neneka. Everything inside him told him to reach her, to speak, to find out the truth. It was like a magnet pulling him. He heard Kemi say his name again, but her voice was far away. As Toby moved, Dele noticed and quickly walked up to him. Dee laughed loudly, trying to make it look like a joke, and put an arm around Toby's shoulders. My brother, he said in a cheerful voice. It's your wedding day. Leave the staff to do their work. Come, let's go cut the cake. Toby turned his head slowly and looked at Deely. His eyes were no longer soft. For the first time since the morning, he looked like he was awake. He removed Deely's arm gently but firmly. He shook his head as if clearing fog from his mind. He whispered one word. Neka. No one else could hear it, but he said it. He needed to know if she would respond to her name. The word carried years of memories. Neka's head lifted again. She heard it. Her eyes met his for a heartbeat, and he saw pain in them, pain he had caused. She looked at him, and without speaking, she told him many things. She told him he had hurt her. She told him she had cried. She told him she had survived. Then she looked away and continued wiping the floor. Her movements steady. Kemi stepped between Toby and Neneka, her eyes blazing. There is nothing there for you, she whispered harshly. Stay by my side. She tugged at his arm again, and this time her nails dug into his skin. Toby gently but firmly took his arm back. He didn't push Kemi or yell. He simply stepped around her. He kept his eyes on Neneka. He felt like he was walking through thick air, like he was moving slower than everyone else. Every step felt heavy and strange. He could hear the whispers of the people around them. Some of the guests noticed his movement and began to murmur, their eyes following him. As he approached Neneka, she kept her focus on the floor. The bucket beside her was half full of dark red water. Her mop moved back and forth, creating a smooth, clean path. When Toby reached her, he stood there, unsure of what to do. He felt like a child again. He didn't know how to speak to her. He didn't know how to explain. He didn't know how to bridge the distance between them. He opened his mouth, but before he could say anything, Kemi appeared beside him again, pulling at his sleeve like a child who didn't want to share her toy. Her voice was full of anger that she tried to hide behind a smile. Everyone is looking at us, she hissed. Smile and walk away. But Toby had already crossed a line. He could not go back to pretending. He knew that whatever happened next would change everything. He looked at Neneka, and all his feelings, guilt, shame, regret, confusion, rose up like a tide. He had no idea where this day would lead. But he felt the first crack in the perfect picture he had been showing to the world. Toby stood close to Neneka. He could smell the faint scent of cleaning liquid and the soft perfume she used to wear. He found his voice and spoke in a low tone so that only she could hear. Neka, he said again, a little louder this time. Neka's hand paused on the mop handle. She slowly straightened her back and looked at him. Her belly showed the clear curve of late pregnancy. Her eyes were calm, but Toby could see a flicker of something like sorrow deep inside them. Yes, sir, she replied. Her voice was quiet but clear. She used the word sir, like he was any other employer, not the man who had once kissed her under the stars. The word cut him sharply. He flinched at the sir. Don't call me that, he whispered. She held his gaze for a moment, then looked away. Please move, she said softly, so I can finish cleaning. She spoke as though his presence meant nothing, as if she was merely doing her job. She kept her voice even, but the tremble in her fingers showed how much it cost her to keep control. Toby's heart felt heavy. He tried to step aside, but his feet wouldn't move. "How are you?" he asked, the words sounding foolish even to his own ears. He wanted to ask 1,000 things, but he could not find the right sentence. Naneka's mouth curved in a small smile that did not reach her eyes. "I am working," she answered. "Is there anything else, sir?" He heard the "sir" again like a slap. He wanted to erase it. He leaned closer and whispered, "Why are you here?" Naneka's eyes flashed. "To work," she said. "Some of us don't marry rich people to eat." The words were quiet, but they struck him like a whip. He felt heat rise in his cheeks. He opened his mouth to answer, but Naneka turned away and dipped her mop into the bucket. She squeezed out the water and began wiping the floor again, moving the mop in long, steady strokes. Her face was focused, and her shoulders were tense. Kemi saw them speaking and hurried over. Her face, hidden behind makeup, showed anger she could not hide. Her smile looked stiff. She stood between them and said loudly, "Is there a problem? Sir, you should leave the cleaner to do her job." Naneka looked at Kemi with calm eyes and bowed slightly. "No problem, madam. I am doing my job," she said. Kemi's eyes moved to Neka's belly. They widened, and her lips curled slightly. "Then do it properly and stop creating a scene," she snapped. Toby felt anger rise in him. "Kemi, you don't talk to her like that," he said sharply. He didn't shout, but his voice was firm. People nearby began to whisper. Some guests turned their heads, curious to see why the groom was standing with a pregnant cleaner. Toby could feel their eyes. He could hear their low voices. He felt like he was under a spotlight. Deal appeared quickly, still smiling, still trying to control the situation. "Toby," he said in a cheerful tone, "let's go. Leave this woman. She isn't worth it. Everyone is waiting to see the cake cutting." He laughed loudly as if everything was normal. Toby turned his head toward Dealey and looked at him carefully. For the first time in years, he saw a face he had taken for granted. He saw the man who had told him lies about Naneka, the friend he had trusted with his heart. He saw a smile that suddenly looked false. He took a breath. "Just a cleaner," he said softly, repeating Deli's words. His eyes stayed on Deal's face. Del's smile faltered, just a little. He looked away quickly, then looked back, trying to keep his grin. Naneka lifted her bucket and tried to walk around Toby to another spill, but he stepped in front of her. "Why are you here?" he asked again, a little more urgently. Naneka looked at him, and her voice became low and hard. "It is not your business," she said. "Move, please." He lowered his voice, his heart beating faster. "You are pregnant," he said, his eyes resting on her belly. Her eyes flicked down at her stomach, then up to his face. "And that is also not your business," she answered, her tone sharper now. She stood up straight, holding the mop like a shield between them. He swallowed. The question he had been scared to ask came out. "Is the child mine?" The words were almost a whisper, as if he feared they might break if he said them louder. Naneka's eyes changed. Something like pain flashed there. She leaned forward slightly so that only he would hear. "Don't finish that question here," she whispered. "You had your chance to ask questions years ago. You chose not to." Toby felt his face burn. He remembered how he had refused to listen to her. He remembered her tears as she tried to speak. He had told her to shut up then. Now the same words came back to him from her lips. He looked down, ashamed. Suddenly, Mama Toby, who had noticed the commotion, walked up quickly. Her head tie stood high, and her eyes were hard. She looked at Neka and pointed her finger. "What is this woman doing here?" she demanded. "Who let her into this hall?" Naneka bowed her head slightly. "I was hired, Ma," she replied, with respect but without fear. Mama Toby's nose flared. "Then go and clean outside," she barked. "This hall is for important people." Toby turned to his mother, surprising himself. "Mama, stop," he said quietly but firmly. He had never spoken to her like that in public before. He felt a strange strength fill him. His mother's eyes widened. She looked shocked. Kemi's face tightened as if the ground had moved beneath her feet. Naneka took the moment to slip away, but as she passed Toby, she looked at him and whispered, "Ask your wife why I am here." Her voice was soft, but her words were like a match in dry grass. Toby turned sharply toward Kemi. His eyes were full of questions. Kemi forced a smile and shook her head slightly. "What is she talking about?" Toby asked. his voice low but urgent. Kemi laughed nervously. "She is just trying to ruin our day," she said. "Ignore her." But her eyes darted away. She looked at Dealey for a second, and Toby noticed it. Something flashed between them, something he had not seen before. Deal cleared his throat and tried to pull Toby away again. "She is trying to cause drama," he said. "It's your wedding day. Don't let her succeed." But Toby's mind was already racing. The woman he once loved had just told him to ask his new wife why she was here. It wasn't random. It wasn't an accident. That thought made his chest feel tight. He looked around the hall. Everywhere he looked, he saw faces smiling and whispering. He felt like he was in the middle of a storm that everyone else could see, but pretend not to. As the music played and the MC called the next program, Toby excused himself. He needed to understand. He needed to talk to Naneka somewhere away from the eyes of strangers. He told Kemi he would be back in a moment, but she grabbed his arm and whispered, "Do not embarrass me." He gently removed her fingers. "I just need to talk," he said. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't fight. He simply stepped away. Kemi watched him walk toward the back hallway where the staff rooms were. Her lips pressed together. Her face, still beautiful and calm to the guests, showed a moment of anger when she turned to Deal. "I told you she shouldn't be seen," she hissed at him. Deal shrugged. "She insisted," he whispered back. "She said she wanted to see the look on his face." Kemi's jaw tightened. "If he finds out," she began. Deal cut her off. "Focus on keeping your husband. I will handle Naneka," he said with a sly smile. Kemi swallowed her fear and turned back toward the center of the hall, where people were waiting for her dance. She forced a bright smile and moved to the stage, as if nothing had happened, but her heart beat fast. Toby stepped into a quiet hallway, lined with doors, that led to the kitchen and storage rooms. The music from the hall sounded distant. The air smelled of spices and cleaning soap. He saw Naneka near a doorway, leaning against the wall, breathing deeply. A younger man stood beside her, holding a bottle of water. He looked at Toby with caution in his eyes. It was obvious the man cared about Naneka. "Neka," Toby said softly as he approached. She turned to him slowly. The young man stepped aside but stayed close, ready to help if needed. "What do you want?" she asked in a voice that was tired but strong. "Please," Toby said, "tell me what is going on. Why are you here? Why did you say I should ask Kemi?" Naneka looked at him for a long moment. She seemed to weigh whether to speak. Finally, she sighed and said, "Ask Kemi yourself. I am tired of talking to walls." She tried to walk away, but Toby blocked her path gently. "Please," he said again. "For once, let me listen." She laughed lightly, but there was no humor in it. "Listen," she said. "You had your ears closed the day I begged you to listen. You decided I was guilty before I opened my mouth. You shouted at me in front of your mother and your sister. You called me names. You told me to get out of your life. Why should I open my mouth now?" Her words were like arrows. Each one hit him. He lowered his head. "Because I was wrong," he whispered. "I was proud. I believed things without proof. I want to understand now. I want to fix what I can." Nika looked up at the ceiling as if searching for patience. She shook her head. "You can't fix the past, Toby," she said, using his first name for the first time since they saw each other. "You can only face it." He swallowed. "Then help me face it," he said quietly. He felt like he was begging. The man who once thought he controlled everything now stood asking for help from the woman he had hurt. The change in him surprised even himself. Neka's eyes softened slightly. "You want to know why I'm here," she said. "You want to know why I said to ask Kemi?" She took a deep breath. "Because she hired my company." Toby frowned. "Your company?" he asked, confused. He looked at her cleaning uniform and the mop bucket. It didn't fit with the idea of a company. Naneka nodded slowly. "Yes," she said. "After you threw me out, I had nothing. I went to my aunt's house with a small bag. I washed people's clothes. I cleaned homes. I saved every naira I could. I started a small cleaning business with 2 people. It grew. I have contracts with hotels and offices now. I did not need to work today, but Kemi insisted that my company handle this event. She offered double the pay and said she wanted everything to be perfect." Understanding began to dawn in Toby's eyes. "She did this on purpose," he whispered. "Yes," Naneka said, her voice steady. "She wanted to humiliate me. But I came because I heard her name. I needed to see her face. I needed to see yours. I needed to see if you would look at me like a human being." Toby felt his hands start to shake. He clenched them into fists to steady them. He remembered how Kemi had smiled and said she handled all the wedding arrangements. He remembered how she insisted on controlling every detail. He had thought it was just her wanting things perfect. He hadn't imagined she had a plan to hurt Naneka on their wedding day. He looked at Naneka. Why would she do that? He asked, though he already guessed part of the answer. Naneka gave a small, sad smile. "Because she was part of the reason we divorced," she said quietly. "She helped Dealey create the fake messages. She stood at your gate that day. She watched you throw me out. She laughed. She wanted your money and your name. Deal wanted your business. They pushed you, but you walked through the door yourself." Toby felt a wave of sickness wash over him. He leaned against the wall for support. His mind was spinning. He wanted to deny what she said, but he couldn't. He remembered that day clearly now. He remembered a woman he didn't know standing near the gate, whispering to his mother. He remembered Deal, showing him messages that made his blood boil. He remembered believing it all without proof. Tears welled up in his eyes. He blinked them away. He wanted to scream, but his voice was caught. He whispered, "I am sorry," but the words felt small compared to the pain he had caused. Naneka looked at him and shook her head. "Sorry," she said softly, "is just a word. It will not fix years of pain. It will not fix lost nights, broken trust, or a child gone. It will not change what you chose. But if you really want to do something, then open your eyes. Don't let them fool you again." Toby nodded slowly. He understood what she meant. He needed to confront the lies that had destroyed his marriage and his life. He needed to face Dealey. He needed to face Kemi. He needed to face himself. As he stood there, he heard footsteps. He turned and saw Kemi standing at the end of the hallway watching them. Her face was pale. Her hands were clenched. She had seen enough to know that things were going to unravel. And in her eyes, Toby saw fear. The hallway felt narrow as Kemi stepped closer. Her wedding gown brushed against the wall, leaving a faint mark. She tried to smile, but her lips trembled. "What is this?" she asked. "Why are we all here, hiding like criminals? We should be celebrating." Her voice was light, but the sharpness underneath it made everyone tense. She looked at Naneka with cold eyes, then at Toby. She wanted to pull him away, to remove him from this conversation. "Toby, we need to go back our guests," Toby interrupted quietly. "Kemi, did you hire Neka's company?" Kemi's smile faltered. Her eyes flicked toward Dealey, who had followed her into the hallway. He gave a tiny shake of his head, as if telling her to deny everything. She swallowed and forced a laugh. "Toby, why are you asking such a question? Does it matter who cleans? They are workers. I did what needed to be done." "It matters," Toby said softly, but his voice had a firmness it didn't have before. He looked at her directly. "Did you hire her company?" Kemi opened her mouth, then closed it. She felt Dele's eyes on her and took a deep breath. "Yes," she finally said, her voice stiff. "I told them to handle the cleaning. They are professionals, I heard. Why is this a problem?" Naneka watched her. There was no anger on Naneka's face now, only a quiet strength. She held her mop like a staff and seemed to grow taller. "Why would you bring her here?" Toby pressed. Kemi's eyes widened. "Because I didn't think you would make a scene," she said, raising her voice. "Because I didn't think you would leave my side for a cleaner. Because I wanted you to remember what you came from and appreciate what you have now." Her words echoed in the small hallway. They were full of bitterness. She had shown her true feelings without meaning to. She believed she was better than Naneka. That wealth made her more deserving of Toby. And she wanted Toby to see that difference. She wanted to humiliate Naneka. Deal stepped forward, placing himself between Kemi and Toby. "This is nonsense," he said, trying to regain control. "Toby, let's go back. Don't listen to this woman. She wants to ruin your day." Toby turned to Dealer slowly. "This woman," he said softly, "was puffed." Why's eyes were clear and steady. "You told me she cheated on me. You showed me fake messages. You stood there while I threw her out. You let me destroy my own marriage." Deal's face tightened. "I did what was best for you," he said. "She was dragging you down." Neka laughed quietly. It was a dry, humorless laugh. She looked at Deal and shook her head. Dragging him down, she repeated. Do you remember those nights when he had no money and no hope? Do you remember the days I carried crates of bottles for him to sell? Do you remember the mornings I woke up at 4 to cook food for his workers? I dragged him down. Deal looked away, and then he looked back, his mask cracking for a moment. He leaned forward slightly toward Naneka, his voice low. You were too strong, he whispered. You saw things you shouldn't have seen. Naneka raised her eyebrows. You mean how you were stealing from his company? She replied, her voice calm. Yes, I saw. And because I saw, you used lies to get rid of me. Toby's head snapped up. He stared at Deal in shock. What is she talking about? He asked, his voice shaking. Deal laughed again, but the sound was brittle. She is lying, he said. She is angry because she lost her place. Don't listen to her, Naneka interrupted. You asked for proof, she said. She looked at the young man who had been standing quietly beside her. He stepped forward and pulled out a small recorder. He pressed play, and a voice came out of it, the hallway filled with the sound of Dele's voice. Please, Neka, the recorded voice said. Don't tell Toby. I will return the money. I needed it for... The recording cut off. It was short, but it was enough to show that Dele had begged Neka not to tell Toby about some money. It was enough to show that Deal had a reason to get rid of her. Deal's face lost all color. He reached out to grab the recorder, but the young man stepped back quickly, hiding it behind his back. Kemi looked at Deal with shock. She hadn't known about this part. She had been part of Dele's plan to get Toby, but she hadn't known about the money. Toby's eyes widened. Is this true? He whispered, looking at Deal. You stole from me. Deal took a step back. Listen, Toby, he said, trying to keep calm. You don't understand. I answer me, Toby said, his voice no longer soft. He took a step forward. The man who had looked frozen moments before now looked like he had woken up. He was no longer the groom following a script. He was a man who had been lied to and was ready to confront those lies. Deal's mouth opened and closed. He looked at Kemi for help, but she was still frozen in shock. He looked at Mama Toby, who had just come into the hallway. She stood with her hands on her hips, listening with wide eyes. Dealer started again, but he couldn't finish. He looked at Naneka, who watched him calmly. He looked at Toby and saw anger there. His shoulders dropped. Yes, he finally said in a low voice. I took some money, but I did it for us. I did it to invest. I would have returned it. You let me throw my wife out for you, Toby said, his voice trembling with anger. You let me ruin my life to hide your theft. Deal shook his head. She was going to tell you, he argued. She was going to destroy everything we built. I saved us. You saved yourself, Naneka said. Do not lie now. You were afraid of losing your own money and your own image. And Kemi, she turned to face the bride, who had once thought she was in control. You enjoyed watching me suffer. You thought I was nothing. Kemi's eyes flashed. You were nothing, she snapped, then clamped her mouth shut. She realized she had spoken too loudly. She looked at Toby and saw anger growing in his eyes. Toby took a deep breath. He felt like his chest might explode. He turned to Naneka. Why didn't you tell me? He asked. Why didn't you fight harder? Why did you just leave? Naneka looked at him and shook her head slowly. Toby, she said gently, do you remember that night? You stood in front of me. Your eyes were full of anger. Your mother was behind you, shouting. Your sisters were laughing. Deal was showing you those fake messages. You were not listening to me. You pushed me. You called me names. You told me to get out before you called the police. You said you were done. I tried to speak. I tried to tell you about the baby. I tried to tell you that Deal was stealing. But you told me I was lying. How was I supposed to fight when the man I loved had already decided I was guilty? Her words were soft, but each one hit Toby like a hammer. He remembered that night clearly now. He remembered his own voice shouting at her, his own hands pushing her. He remembered her tears. He remembered feeling powerful because he thought he was punishing a liar. He remembered the satisfaction on Dele's face and the smirk on Kemi's lips. He remembered his mother's nod of approval. He remembered the neighbors peeking through their curtains. He remembered thinking, good, she will learn not to betray me. Now the memory made him nauseous. He leaned his head against the wall. He closed his eyes for a second, trying to breathe. The truth was like a heavy weight on his chest. Naneka's voice continued, calm but firm. I left because I had no choice, she said. I left because I would not beg someone who had chosen to believe a lie. I left because I was pregnant and needed to protect my child from the stress. I lost that child because of the stress anyway. I almost lost myself, but I survived. Her hand went to her belly, where another child now grew. This one, she said quietly, will not grow in fear. I will not let anyone treat me like I'm worthless again. Not even you. Toby opened his eyes and looked at her. Tears spilled down his cheeks. He didn't wipe them away. He looked at the baby growing inside her. The questions in his mind were loud, but he held them back. He knew there would be time to ask later. For now, he needed to face what was in front of him. He needed to confront Kemi and Dele and his mother. You said I should ask Kemi, he whispered. I have. She said she did hire you. Why? Why did she think this was okay? Neka looked at Kemi. Ask her, she said quietly. Toby turned to his bride. Why? He asked, his voice heavy with betrayal. Kemi lifted her chin. Because I didn't think you would care, she said. Her words were honest now. She had no more lies to hide behind. Because I thought you were above her. Because I thought you would see her and remember that you are better off without her. Because I wanted to watch her mop the floor while I stood next to you. I wanted that power. Her admission hung in the air. It was ugly and cruel, and it made Toby see her in a new light. He realized. She wasn't the gentle, loving person she had pretended to be. She had a dark side. She could be vindictive. She had enjoyed someone else's pain. He felt something inside him break. The respect he had tried to build for her, the affection he had tried to grow, shattered. He saw her clearly now, and he didn't like what he saw. He shook his head slowly. You wanted power over someone else on our wedding day, he asked. That was important to you. Kemi looked at him defiantly. Yes, she said, because I deserve to feel important. Because I watched you pine over that woman for years, even after you threw her out. Because she was a shadow over us. I wanted to erase that shadow. Toby took a step back. He felt like he had been pushed. By humiliating her, he whispered. By hurting someone who never hurt you? Kemi shrugged. She took you from me, she said, her voice rising. When you married her, I thought I lost my chance. I waited. I watched you, then I got you. Now she wants to come back and ruin my day. Naneka shook her head. I did not come to ruin your day, she said. You brought me here. You opened the door. The young man beside Naneka Chima, who had been silent all this time, spoke up. Madam, he said to Kemi, you told us to come. You said you wanted us to clean well. You paid double. But we didn't know you wanted to hurt her. We work for her. We respect her. If we had known, we wouldn't have let her come herself. His voice was steady, but he looked angry. He respected his boss and did not like how she was treated. Kemi glared at him. Who are you to speak to me? She snapped. Chima smiled. The person who makes sure your floors shine, he said calmly. The person who can drop all his mops and let your guests slip if he wants to. But I won't, because I have more class than you. Kemi's face turned red. She took a step toward him, but Toby held up his hand. Enough, he said firmly. All of you. This will not be settled in a hallway. We will go back to the hall. We will speak the truth in front of everyone. No more lies. No more games. He turned and began to walk toward the door. Kemi grabbed his arm. Toby, no, she pleaded. Please, let's talk privately. We don't need to involve everyone. This is our wedding. Toby looked at her and shook his head. This is no longer a wedding, he said quietly. This is something else. He gently removed her hand and walked toward the hall. Kemi stood still, her eyes wide with fear and rage. She looked at Dele. He shrugged as if to say, I can't stop him. She looked at her father, who had just entered the hallway looking puzzled and angry, and saw no comfort there. She realized her world was about to change. Naneka watched Toby's back as he walked away. She felt no joy. She felt tired. She had wanted the truth to come out. She had wanted Toby to see the people he trusted. Now, that was happening, but the pain in his eyes made her heart heavy. She turned away and leaned against the wall. The baby moved inside her, reminding her that this was not just about the past. It was about the future too. Toby stepped back into the hall. His footsteps are slow and heavy. The lights were still bright, and the music had resumed, but the joy had drained from his heart. His mind was sharp now. He walked toward the stage and picked up the microphone that the MC had been using. The MC looked confused but stepped aside. Guests murmured and whispered to each other. They saw that Toby looked serious. They started taking out their phones, ready to record. Toby didn't notice or care. He took a deep breath and spoke. "Please, everyone," he began. His voice echoed through the hall. "I need your attention." People turned in their seats. Some silenced their laughter and looked up. Kemi walked out of the hallway and stood near the front, her face pale. Deli and Mama Toby followed. They stood a little behind Toby, unsure of what he would do. The tension in the air was thick. Toby looked at the guests. "Thank you all for coming to what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life," he said. "But something has happened, something I cannot ignore. I need to speak the truth, even if it is painful. And I want everyone to hear it because this involves more than just me." Kemi hissed, "Toby, stop it!" under her breath, but she could not reach him. He held the microphone tightly. Toby continued. "Some of you may have noticed that a pregnant woman was mopping the floor earlier," he said. "Her name is Naneka. She was my wife. Many of you know I divorced her years ago. Some of you may know why I did." He paused and looked around. He could see the curiosity on faces. Some nodded, remembering the rumors of cheating. Others frowned, confused. "I threw her out because I thought she cheated on me," he said. His voice trembled slightly. "I thought she had betrayed me. I believed evidence that was brought to me by people I trusted. I believed my friend Dale." He turned to point at Dale, who shifted uneasily. "He showed me messages and pictures. He told me she was sleeping with another man. My family supported the idea. My new bride, Kemi, was there. She also said things that made me believe. So I acted. I pushed my wife out of our home. I called her names. I threw her clothes in the rain. I humiliated her. I didn't listen when she tried to speak. I didn't ask questions. I believed everything bad about her." Gasps filled the hall. Some people looked shocked. Others looked at Naneka, who stood silently near the wall with Chima and her workers. She didn't cry. She didn't hide. She looked back calmly. Toby's voice grew firmer. "Today I learned the truth," he said. "Naneka did not cheat on me. Those messages were fake. The man in the pictures was her cousin. The lies were created by Delay." He turned toward his friend. "You stole from me," she found out. "She tried to tell me. You framed her to protect yourself. And Kemi." He looked at his bride. "You helped him. You told my mother that Naneka was not worthy. You stood at my gate and watched me destroy my marriage. And today, you invited her to our wedding to humiliate her, to remind me that she was beneath me. You paid double to ensure she mopped the floor while you walked on it." The hall erupted in murmurs. Some guests gasped loudly. Others whispered into their phones, texting or posting about what they were hearing. Chief Duru, Kemi's father, stood up angrily. "What is this nonsense?" he thundered. "Young man, you will not embarrass my family." Toby looked at him calmly. "Sir," he said, "with all due respect, this is not nonsense. This is the truth. Your daughter did something cruel, and I will not protect her from the consequences because of your name." Chief Duru's face reddened. He opened his mouth to speak, but Toby raised his hand, stopping him. "Please let me finish," Toby said. "I have been a coward for too long. I have let lies control my life. I will not continue." He turned toward his mother. "Mama," he said, "you told me to throw Naneka out. You said she was beneath us. You didn't listen to her. You didn't try to help us talk. You just agreed with whatever made you feel powerful. Today, you tried to remove her again." Mama Toby's lips trembled. She looked like she wanted to speak but didn't. Toby looked back at the guests. "I am not saying this to embarrass my family. I am saying this because I did something wrong. I hurt someone who loved me when I had nothing. I believed lies. I allowed pride and anger to drive me. I took my mother's and friends' words over my wife's. I let Kemi's beauty and money blind me. And because of that, I lost more than I can ever explain." He turned toward Deal again. "Deal," he said. "You were my friend. We grew up together. We built businesses together. I trusted you. How could you?" His voice cracked. Deal shifted his weight. He looked around at the watching faces and finally spoke. His voice was no longer calm, it was desperate. "Toby," he said, "I did what I had to do. I invested your money to grow our business. I didn't steal it. I would have returned it. And yes, I didn't like her. She was always looking at your books. She was always questioning things. She was causing trouble. I protected us. And Kemi loved you. She gave you what Naneka couldn't." Kemi seized the microphone from Toby. "He is twisting everything," she cried. "He promised to protect us. He promised to take care of us. He made me believe she was ruining him. We did nothing wrong. We only pushed a little. She was going to drag you down." Naneka, from her spot at the wall, stepped forward. Her voice carried clearly across the hall. "Drag him down," she said softly, but everyone heard. "Do you remember the nights he slept on a mat in my mother's kitchen? Do you remember when he ate my last cup of Gary? Do you remember when he had no shoes and I gave him my brother's slippers? Do you remember when he borrowed money from a tailor to rent a small shop and I followed him there every night to sweep and clean? Who dragged who? When did I drag him down? I helped him up. I pushed him up. And when he was up, you all told him he didn't need the woman who held the ladder." Her words were like a wave washing over the hall. Some women wiped tears from their eyes. Men shook their heads in shame. Naneka did not shout. She spoke calmly, and the truth of her words was clear. Toby felt tears fall down his cheeks. He nodded at her. "She is right," he said. "I betrayed her. I betrayed myself. I am so sorry, Neka." A few guests clapped softly, not in mockery but in admiration for her courage. Others whispered, "What will happen now?" Some felt sorry for Kemi, but most felt that she had brought this on herself. Toby looked around the hall. "I cannot continue this wedding," he said. His voice was sad but steady. "I cannot marry someone who enjoyed another person's pain. I cannot celebrate with people who lied to me. I need to fix what I broke. I don't know how, but I will start by not adding to my mistakes." He reached up and took off the ring Kemi had put on his finger earlier. He placed it on a small table beside him. The ring made a soft clink as it hit the wood. The sound seemed loud in the silent hall. Kemi gasped, her eyes filled with tears. She looked like she wanted to scream or throw something. But she stayed still. Her father glared at Toby. But he knew there was little he could do without making things worse for his daughter. Layton turned and tried to leave quietly, but Toby raised his hand. "You are not going anywhere," he said. "Security." Two men in black suits stepped forward. "Please hold Mr. Deal. He has committed theft and fraud. I will press charges. He will not leave until the police arrive." Dealer's face went pale. He tried to protest, but security placed a hand on his shoulder and nodded. Deal's lips trembled, and he looked at Toby with pleading eyes. But Toby didn't look away. He had made up his mind. Neka remained quiet. She looked at Toby and saw the pain he was now wearing. She saw a man trying to stand up straight after falling hard. She didn't rush to comfort him. She had suffered too long to make it easy for him. But she did not turn away either. She stood and watched, a witness to the truth. The hall slowly emptied. Some guests slipped away quietly. Others stayed to watch the drama unfold. The MC whispered to his team and left the stage, shaking his head. The waiters continued their work, clearing plates and wiping tables, unsure of what to say or do. The band stopped playing. Silence hovered over the hall like a curtain. As the last few guests left, Toby stepped down from the stage and walked toward Naneka. His movements were slow, like someone walking through heavy rain. He reached her and stopped. "Neka," he said softly, his voice hoarse. "I don't know what to say. I am sorry. I am so sorry. I can't ask you to forgive me. I don't deserve it. But I hope you can find it in your heart to let me try to make things right." She looked at him, her face calm. "You can't make everything right," she said. "You can't bring back the child I lost. You can't take back the years I cried. You can't undo the nights I went to bed hungry. But you can open your eyes now. You can stop living in lies. You can be honest with yourself and with the people around you. You can stop letting pride and money decide who you love." Toby nodded. He felt her words like a teacher's stern lesson. He knew she was right. He had been controlled by pride and money. He needed to change. He wanted to change. He would change, even if it took him his whole life. Mama Toby walked up to them. Her eyes were red from crying. She looked at Neka with shame. Neka, she said, her voice shaking. I am sorry, my daughter. I was wrong. I let my desire for wealth make me cruel. I was proud. I forgot where we came from. I thought we were better than you, and I was wrong. Please forgive me. Naneka looked at her and nodded slowly. I heard your apology, she said quietly. But trust is earned, not given. I will not forget what happened. But I will not hold bitterness in my heart. I will live my life. I hope you can live yours without hurting anyone else. Mama Toby cried quietly and nodded. She stepped back, wiping her tears. Kemi stood a little distance away, watching everything. Her face was no longer angry. It was full of fear and regret. She wanted to speak, to say something to make things better, but she didn't know how. She realized that all her plans had fallen apart. She looked at Toby, hoping he would come back to her, but he didn't look at her again. Toby took a deep breath. He felt tired, drained, but strangely lighter. He had been carrying a weight of lies for years. Now, that weight had been lifted. He didn't know what the future held. He didn't know if Naneka would ever forgive him, or if they could ever have a relationship again. He didn't know how his business would survive without Del. He didn't know how his mother and sisters would change. He didn't know how Kemi's family would react. But he knew that he had taken the first step toward honesty. The hall was almost empty now. The decorations looked sad, like they were left over from someone else's party. The cake sat untouched. The flowers wilted slightly. The wedding that had started like a dream had ended like a lesson. Toby stood there with Naneka, surrounded by the quiet. He wanted to reach out and touch her, to feel her forgiveness. But he didn't. He had rushed too much in the past. He would not rush again. He would wait, he would try, he would listen. For the first time in a long time, he felt the warmth of hope, not for a wedding, but for the truth, he whispered to himself. I will make things right. It was not a promise to Naneka, or to his mother, or to anyone else. It was a promise to himself. As the hall emptied, Toby and Naneka moved toward the exit. But before they could leave, Kemi stepped forward, blocking their path. Her wedding gown looked heavy. Her veil had been discarded. Her face was streaked with tears, and her mascara had smeared, leaving dark lines on her cheeks. She looked different from the elegant bride, who had walked down the aisle earlier. She looked like a hurt young woman. She stood with her arms crossed, her body tense. You can't just leave, she said, her voice trembling. We need to talk. You owe me an explanation, Toby. Toby looked at her calmly. He didn't feel angry anymore. He felt sad. What do you want me to say, Kemi? He asked. Everything I had to say I already said. You lied. You helped break my marriage. You tried to hurt someone for no reason. I cannot marry you. Kemi's jaw tightened. You can't just throw me away, she said, her voice rising. Do you know what people will say? Do you know what my father will do? Do you think you can humiliate me like this and walk away free? Naneka stepped aside, not wanting to be part of their argument, but Kemi moved toward her. You, she said sharply, pointing at Naneka. This is all your fault. You ruined my day. You came here to ruin my wedding. Naneka stayed calm. I didn't invite myself, she said quietly. You brought me here. You could have hired another company. You chose mine. You asked me to mop floors. I did my job. Kemi's eyes burned with anger. You were supposed to know your place, she snapped. You were supposed to feel small. You were supposed to leave quietly. Instead, you come here, acting like a queen, telling everyone lies about me. Neka's eyes hardened. She took a step toward Kemi, standing inches away. Her voice was low but firm. Lies? Which lies? That you helped break a marriage? That you wanted to humiliate me? That you enjoyed watching me suffer? Those are not lies. You said yourself you wanted power over me. You said you wanted to erase me from Toby's life. You wanted me to feel pain so you could feel important. Is that a lie? Kemi's mouth opened, then closed. She looked at Toby. She is twisting my words, she said. She is telling the truth, Toby said quietly, cutting her off. You said those things. You hired her. You brought her here. You can't change that now. Kemi's anger turned to desperation. She dropped her arms and clasped her hands together. Please, Toby, she said, her voice shaking. We can fix this. We can deal with Deal later. We can talk to your mother. We can move past it. I love you. I have waited so long for you. Please don't throw this away. Her words were genuine now. She spoke from her heart. She truly loved Toby, even if she had acted out of jealousy and pride. She thought she had won him. She thought. The shadows from his past were gone. Now, those shadows had turned into a storm and destroyed everything she hoped for. Toby shook his head slowly. Kemi, he said softly, love is not control. Love is not humiliation. Love is not games. Love is not built on someone else's tears. Maybe you love me. Maybe you think you do. But your actions show something else. And I cannot marry someone who hurts others to feel good about herself. Kemi stared at him, her eyes wide. So that's it, she whispered. You throw me away because she showed up. She pointed at Naneka. No, Toby said. I throw away the lies because the truth showed up. He nodded toward Naneka. She happened to be the person bringing it. You blame her for ruining today, but she didn't. You did. You hired her. You made this happen. Tears spilled down Kemi's face. She looked at Naneka again. You did this, she whispered. You will never have him. Even if you break this wedding, you will never have him again. He will never love you again. Naneka looked at her calmly. I didn't come to take him, she said. I came to show the truth. That is enough for me. I don't care about your marriage. I care about my dignity. I care about my child. I care about living free from lies. Kemi laughed bitterly. Your child? She sneered. Are you sure the father is not some other man? You were always around men. Maybe you. Naneka's eyes flashed. She raised her hand, and for a moment, it looked like she would slap Kemi, but she stopped. She lowered her hand slowly. She took a deep breath. You don't deserve my slap, she said. My hand is too precious to touch your face. My life is too precious to waste on arguing with you. If you want to fight, fight yourself. Fight the darkness in your heart. Kemi's mouth snapped shut. She trembled with anger and humiliation. She wanted to scream, but no words came. She stepped back, her eyes darting around. She saw people watching. She saw phones still recording. Her dignity felt like it was slipping away. She turned and ran from the hall, her gown trailing behind her. Her father followed quickly, calling her name. They disappeared out the side door. The hall was quiet again. Toby and Naneka stood together, but there was a space between them. It was full of years of pain and lost trust. Mama Toby walked up slowly. She looked at her son and then at Naneka. Naneka, she said softly, please forgive us. Forgive me. I was blind. I cared more about what people would say than about what was right. I cared more about money than about your heart. I was wrong. I see that now. Please, I beg you. Naneka looked at her and nodded. I hear you, she said. I can't say I forgive everything right now. My heart is still hurting, but I will not hold hatred in my heart forever. I will heal. Mama Toby took her hand. She squeezed it gently, then let go. She wiped her tears and turned to Toby. My son, she said, I am proud of you for telling the truth. It is hard, it is painful, but it is right. I pray you find peace. Toby hugged his mother lightly. He felt her shoulders shake with sobs. He felt love for her, but he also felt the need to stand on his own. He looked at Naneka. Can we talk somewhere quiet? He asked. Naneka nodded. Not here, she said, not now, but we will talk. You owe me answers. And I have things to say too. They walked together toward the exit. Chima and the other cleaners gathered their things. They looked at their boss with respect and pride. They had seen her stand strong. They had seen her tell the truth. They would follow her anywhere. Outside, the air was cooler. The sun had begun to set. The sky was painted with orange and pink. Toby and Naneka stood near the parking lot. The noise of the hall faded behind them. The city sounds filled the air. Car horns, people talking, a distant hawker calling out his goods. Naneka leaned against a low wall. She took a deep breath and let it out slowly. She closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them. Her face looked tired, but her eyes were clear. She looked at Toby. Why didn't you come? She asked quietly. After you threw me out, why didn't you come? Even once, Toby swallowed. I thought you cheated, he said. I was angry, I felt betrayed. I let pride guide me. I didn't want to hear your side. I didn't want to look like a fool, so I refused to see you, Naneka nodded. And after that, she pressed. After the anger cooled? After the months passed? Why didn't you come then? Toby closed his eyes briefly. Because I was ashamed, he admitted. I knew I had done something terrible, even if I pretended I didn't. I knew people were laughing at you. I knew my family was happy you were gone. I knew Daly and Kemi were getting closer to me. I knew you had gone back to your aunts. I wanted to come. I wanted to say sorry, but every time I tried, pride stopped me, shame stopped me, fear stopped me. I told myself you didn't want to see me. I told myself you had moved on. I told myself it was too late, so I did nothing. Naneka looked away, blinking back tears. It was not too late at first, she said softly. I waited. I prayed. I believed you would come when you calmed down. I defended you when people insulted you. I told my aunt you were just angry and would return. But days turned to weeks. Weeks turned to months. My belly grew, and you never came. I lost the baby. I almost died, and you were not there. I had to bury a child alone. I had to bury my love alone. Her voice cracked. A tear rolled down her cheek. She wiped it away quickly. She didn't want to cry in front of him. She had cried enough. Toby stepped closer, but he didn't touch her. I didn't know, he whispered. I didn't know you were pregnant. I didn't know you lost the child. I didn't know you almost died. I am so sorry. I should have listened. I should have come. I should have been there. Naneka looked at him again. Sorry won't change it, she said. But yes, you should have been there. You were my husband. And when I needed you most, you chose your pride over me. Silence hung between them. Cars passed by, and a soft breeze blew, ruffling Naneka's hair. She brushed it back and sighed. She looked at Toby and saw that his eyes were full of tears. She felt a small pull in her heart. She had once loved those eyes. She still cared, even if she didn't want to admit it. But she also felt anger. She felt the weight of his betrayal. Toby wiped his eyes. I want to be part of this child's life, he said softly, pointing at her belly. I want to take care of you and the baby. I want to be a father if you let me. Naneka laughed bitterly. Now you want to be a father, she said. Now that the truth is out and everyone is watching. Now that you look like a fool. You should be part of your child's life. Because it's the right thing. Not because you feel guilty. And if you want to, you will need to prove you can be trusted. I will not let anyone break my heart again. Not even you. Her words were firm. She was not saying no. She was saying he had to earn it. He had to show he meant it. He had to be patient, Toby nodded. I understand, he said. I will earn it. I will do whatever it takes. I will help you, even if you never come back to me. I owe you that. I owe this child that. Naneka looked at him for a long moment. She saw sincerity. She saw regret. She saw hope. She felt a mix of emotions. She could not forgive him yet, but she could not hate him either. She nodded slowly. We will see, she said. I will not close the door completely, but I will not open it wide either. Not yet. They stood there, the sun dipping lower behind the buildings. The light turned golden, casting long shadows on the ground. They were two people who had loved, hurt, lost, and now stood on the edge of something new. It was not a wedding. It was not a love story. It was something else. It was a beginning of truth. Days passed after the wedding that never happened. Toby's life changed quickly. He called the police and pressed charges against Deal. He turned over documents. Deal was arrested and taken to court for fraud and theft. The news spread fast. Business people whispered. Some laughed. Some said Toby was brave. Others said he was foolish to throw away a long friendship. But Toby didn't care. He had finally done what was right. His family slowly started to apologize to Neka. His sisters came one by one to her small office. They brought food, money, and tears. They said sorry. They said they were blind. Naneka listened. She accepted their words quietly. She didn't hug them. She didn't chase them away. She simply listened and said thank you. They hugged her and cried. She stood there, strong and calm. Mama Toby visited Naneka every day at first. She brought soups and fruits. She sat at the small office and watched the cleaners work. She looked at Naneka like she was seeing her for the first time. She told stories about when Toby was young and poor, how they used to eat Gary together under a tree and laugh when the rain fell. Naneka listened and nodded. She didn't share her own stories. She didn't need to. They both knew. Meanwhile, Kemi stayed away. She didn't call. She didn't visit. She locked herself in her father's house. She felt ashamed and angry. Her father refused to speak to her. He blamed her for ruining their family's name. She cried alone in her room. She looked at the wedding pictures on her phone. and deleted them one by one. She felt empty. She wanted to blame Toby, but deep down she knew she had done this to herself. She had let jealousy and pride lead her now. She had lost the man she claimed to love, her reputation and her friends. She had to face her own darkness. Toby spent his days visiting the Necker's office. He wanted to help. He brought food and water for the cleaners. He sat in her small office, speaking quietly to her. He didn't demand her time. He didn't push her. He just sat and listened. He asked how she was feeling. He asked if she needed anything. He asked about the baby. He looked at the ultrasound pictures with wonder, amazed at the tiny life growing inside her. He smiled at the black and white images, tears filling his eyes. Naneka watched him with caution. She let him help but didn't lean on him. She remembered how leaning on him in the past had hurt her. She wanted to see if he would stay, even when things were not easy, even when he was not in the spotlight. She wanted to see if his change was real. Toby also hired a new accountant to look through all his business records. He found more evidence of Dealey's theft. He discovered that some deals he thought were profitable were actually losing money because Deal had been stealing. He realized how blind he had been, trusting Dealey blindly because he was like a brother. He felt foolish, but he didn't dwell on it. He knew he had to move forward. One afternoon, Toby came to Necker's office with a folder. He handed it to her. "These are documents," he said quietly. "They give you full control over support for the baby. You can get anything you need without asking me. I am putting money into an account for the child's care. If something happens to me, it will still be there." Naneka opened the folder and looked at the papers. She raised an eyebrow. "You are giving me money?" she asked softly. "I am giving our child a future," Toby said. "I am giving you a choice. I am not buying your forgiveness. I am doing what I should have done from the beginning. Provide for my family. Even if we never get back together, I will never stop caring for my child." Naneka nodded. She felt a small piece of her heart soften. She had struggled alone for so long. She had learned to be strong. It felt strange to have someone offer help without strings. She closed the folder. "Thank you," she said quietly. "I will use it for the baby, not for myself. It is for both of you," Toby said, but he didn't push. He knew better now. As weeks turned to months, the case against Dealey moved through the courts. He tried to get out of it. He hired expensive lawyers. He begged Toby to drop the charges. He even tried to bribe the judge, but Toby refused. He wanted justice. Dealey was eventually found guilty. He was sentenced to several years in prison. He looked at Toby with hate as he was led away. Toby looked back with sadness. He didn't hate Dale. He pitied him. He pitied the man who had thrown away a friendship for greed. Kemi tried to reconcile with Toby once. She called him and asked to meet. They sat in a small cafe. She wore a simple dress, no makeup. She looked tired, older. She apologized. She cried. She said she loved him. She said she was wrong. She said she wanted another chance. Toby listened. He nodded. He believed her tears. He believed she was sorry, but he shook his head. "I cannot marry you," he said gently. "I forgive you. I don't hate you. But we cannot build love on pain. We cannot build trust on lies. You need to heal. You need to learn to love yourself without hurting others. And I need to become a better man. I need to earn back trust. I need to face my mistakes. We cannot do that together," Kemi cried quietly. She accepted his words. She left the cafe slowly, feeling like she had lost a piece of her life she would never get back. But she also felt a little lighter. She had confessed. She had apologized. She had faced her truth. Maybe now, she could start to heal. Toby spent more time with Aneka. They went to doctor appointments together. He took her to a small park sometimes, where they sat under a tree and talked. They talked about everything: business, their childhoods, their dreams, their mistakes. Toby listened to her stories without interrupting. He let her cry when she remembered painful moments. He let her laugh when she remembered funny ones. He shared his own stories. He told her about his fears, his shame, his regrets. He was vulnerable. He was honest. Slowly, Naneka began to see a different Toby. He was no longer the proud man who refused to listen. He was softer, kinder, more patient. He didn't try to control her or make decisions for her. He asked her opinion and respected it. He apologized when he said something wrong. He smiled more. He looked at her belly with love, not just duty. One day, at the end of a long conversation, Nneka said softly, "You are changing." She spoke with surprise and caution. Toby smiled a little. "I have to," he said. "I don't want to lose you or our child. I don't want to be the man who hurts the people he loves. I want to be better." Nneka nodded. "Change is hard," she said. "It takes time. We will see." The baby grew. Nneka's belly became bigger. Toby watched with amazement. He placed his hand on her stomach and felt the baby kick. He laughed and tears filled his eyes. "Our child," he whispered. "Our child is strong." Nneka laughed softly. She felt the warmth of his hand. She felt the life inside her. She felt a mix of emotions, love, fear, hope. She looked at Toby and saw that he meant what he said. She could not promise to marry him. She could not promise to love him like before. But she could not deny that he was trying. She could not deny that she cared. One evening as the sun set, Toby turned to Nneka. "I know I hurt you," he said quietly. "I know I can't fix it all, but will you allow me to try? Will you allow me to be part of your life, even if it's just as the father of our child? I will not ask for more. I will respect whatever you decide." Nneka looked at him for a long moment. She saw the sincerity in his eyes. She saw the change. She saw the man she had once loved, and the man he was becoming. She felt the baby move inside her, reminding her of their shared responsibility. She took a deep breath. "I will allow you to try," she said softly. "I will allow you to be part of our child's life, and maybe one day we can be more. But today is not that day. Today we start as parents. We start two people who are learning to trust again." Toby smiled through tears. He felt like he had been given a precious gift. He nodded. "Today we start as parents," he repeated. "Thank you, Nneka." They sat in silence for a while, watching the sky turn purple and orange. They were not lovers. They were not enemies. They were something new. Two people broken by lies, healing with truth, building a new foundation for the sake of a child, and maybe for the sake of themselves. Months rolled on. Nneka's belly grew heavier. Toby became a familiar sight at her office and home. People whispered. But they whispered with respect now. They saw him driving her to doctor appointments. They saw him carrying bags of groceries and baby clothes. They saw him laugh with her workers. They saw him push a broom one day, trying to help the cleaners at her office. He broke a vase. And everyone laughed, including Nneka. It felt like old times when laughter had been free between them. One afternoon, Nneka was organizing cleaning supplies in her office when she felt a sharp pain. She held the desk and breathed slowly. She thought it was just a normal discomfort, but the pain came again, stronger. She called out, and Chima ran to her side. "What's wrong, madam?" he asked, his face pale with worry. "I think it's time," she whispered. Her voice trembled. She felt her legs shake. She had been through labor before, with the child she lost, and the memory scared her. She didn't want to lose this one. She didn't want to face that pain again. Chima nodded quickly. He rushed to get the car keys. He helped her sit down and called Toby. "Sir," he shouted over the phone. "It's madam. She needs to go to the hospital now. The baby is coming." Toby's heart jumped. He dropped everything and ran to his car. He drove as fast as he could, careful but urgent. He reached Nneka's office in minutes. He leaped out of the car and ran inside. He found Nneka sweating, holding her belly, breathing heavily. Chima and another cleaner supported her. Toby took her hands. "Breathe, breathe," he said softly. "It will be okay. I'm here, let's go." They helped her into the car. Toby drove to the hospital quickly but carefully, trying to avoid potholes. He held her hand with one hand and steered with the other. He whispered encouragements. Nneka groaned, closing her eyes, focusing on breathing. She squeezed his hand hard. He didn't complain. He squeezed back. They reached the hospital. Nurses rushed out with a wheelchair. They helped Nneka inside. Toby was told to wait outside while they checked her. He paced the hallway, looking at the door every few seconds. Mama Toby arrived soon after, followed by Nneka's aunt, Auntie Bissy. They all waited together. The clock ticked slowly. Toby felt like he couldn't breathe. He kept praying silently. Please let them be safe. After what felt like hours, a doctor came out. He smiled. "Congratulations," he said. "It's a healthy baby boy." Relief flooded Toby's body. Tears filled his eyes. He looked at Mama Toby. She smiled widely. "A boy," she whispered, then laughed. She hugged Toby. He hugged her back. He felt like a child and a father at the same time. The doctor added, "But there is more." She delivered twins, but only one survived. The second baby was stillborn. His voice softened. "I am sorry. It's sad, but the mother is stable. The living child is strong." Toby felt joy and sorrow together. Twins, one alive, one gone. His heart hurt for the child they had lost. He thought of the baby they had lost before. He wished things could be different. But he thanked God for the one who lived. He wiped his tears. "Can I see her?" he asked. "Not yet," the doctor said. "She needs rest. Give it a while. We will call you." Toby nodded. He paced again. Auntie BC rubbed his shoulder. "You will hold your son soon," she said. Hours later, Toby was allowed into the room. He stepped inside quietly. Naneka lay on the bed, her face pale but calm. Her hair was messy. Her eyes were tired, but she smiled when she saw him. Beside her, wrapped in a soft blanket, was a tiny baby. He had dark hair and tiny fists that waved gently. He made soft noises, like little sighs. Toby's heart swelled. He went to the bed and looked down at his son. He reached out a hand carefully. The baby grabbed his finger and held on tightly, his tiny grip surprising Toby. Tears fell down Toby's cheeks. He laughed quietly through the tears. "Our son," he whispered. He looked at Naneka. "He is perfect." Naneka smiled. Tears shimmered in her eyes. She nodded. "Do you want to hold him?" she asked softly. Toby nodded. He sat down carefully on the chair beside the bed. Naneka placed the baby in his arms. He felt the small weight of the baby. He felt the warmth. He felt the heartbeat. He felt something shift inside him. A deep love he had never known. He looked down at the baby's face, studying his tiny nose, his delicate eyelashes, his soft mouth. The baby yawned, his mouth opening wide. Toby laughed quietly. He rocked him gently. He looked at Naneka with gratitude. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you for bringing him into the world. Thank you for being strong. Thank you for not giving up." Naneka smiled. "Thank you for being here this time," she said. They shared a long look. In that look, there was pain, love, regret, forgiveness, and hope. They had been through so much. They had lost a child before. They had lost each other. They had found their way back to a place of understanding. Now, they held a child together. It was like a new chapter starting while the past chapters lingered in their minds. Toby whispered to the baby, "I will protect you. I will love you. I will never let you feel the pain I caused your mother. I will be the father you deserve." The baby moved his tiny hand and brushed Toby's thumb. Toby smiled through tears. He looked at Naneka. He wanted to ask if they could be a family. He wanted to ask if she would come back to him. But he didn't. He knew it was not the right time. He knew he had to earn it. He knew they had to heal more. Nurses came in to check on Naneka and the baby. They smiled at the little family. They whispered, "He's so cute." They adjusted the blanket and checked the IV line. They told Naneka to rest and told Toby to be gentle. Toby went to the waiting area where his mother and Auntie Busy were waiting. He carried the baby in his arms. They gasped in joy. Mama Toby clapped her hands and praised God. She thanked Naneka for giving her a grandson. She kissed the baby's forehead gently. Auntie Busy lifted the blanket corner to peek at the baby's toes. She laughed and wiped her eyes. "He will be as strong as his mother," she said proudly. They all took turns holding the baby, speaking blessings, praying over him, promising to love him. Toby watched, smiling. He felt a warmth inside him he hadn't felt in a long time. He felt part of a family again. Just because of blood, but because of truth and love. Later that evening, as the sky darkened outside and the hospital lights dimmed, Naneka's room was quiet. She lay on the bed, eyes closed, resting. The baby slept in a clear crib beside her, his small chest rising and falling. Toby sat in a chair near the bed, watching them. The room was peaceful. He felt an urge to speak, though he didn't want to wake her. He whispered anyway, hoping she could hear. "I know I can't fix everything," he said softly, "but I promise you, I will do everything I can to be better. I will be here, I will be honest, I will listen. I will not let pride blind me again. You and our son deserve that. I don't know if you will ever want to be with me, but I will earn your trust, slowly, gently, every day." Naneka stirred. She opened her eyes slightly. She heard his words. She smiled faintly. "We will see," she whispered, then closed her eyes again. Toby leaned back in his chair, looking at the ceiling, feeling tears slip down his cheeks. They were tears of relief and hope. He held on to the promise he had made himself. To be a good father, to be an honest man, to be someone Nneka and their son could rely on. He closed his eyes and rested too. The future was uncertain, but he knew one thing: truth had won. Love had not returned fully, but it had been given a chance. And sometimes, a chance was all you needed to change everything. Weeks later, Nneka returned home with her baby, whom she named Chisom. The name meant, "God is with me." It was a reminder of how she had survived pain and found hope. Toby visited daily, bringing baby clothes, diapers, and warm food. He sat on the couch while Nneka nursed the baby. He changed diapers, clumsily at first, but better each day. He laughed when the baby peed on him. He rocked the baby to sleep. He hummed lullabies he had heard on the radio. Neighbors peeked through windows, surprised to see Toby in a simple house, cradling a baby. They whispered, "Is that not the billionaire?" They shook their heads and smiled. They saw a man who had come down from his high throne to sit on a small stool and hold a baby with love. They respected him for it. One morning, as the sun poured through the window, painting the room in golden light, Nneka sat on the couch, watching Toby play with Chisom. She sipped tea and felt a strange warmth in her chest. She had told herself she would not fall for him again. She had told herself she would only allow him to be a father. But watching him now, she felt something shift. She saw a man who was humble, kind, present. She saw a man who had faced his darkness and fought to be better. She felt her heart soften further. She set down her cup and said, "Toby." He looked up quickly, concern in his eyes. "Yes? I need to say something," she said. Her voice was calm, but her hands trembled slightly. He placed the baby gently in the crib and sat next to her. "I'm listening," he said. Nneka took a deep breath. She looked at her hands, then at him. "You have been coming here every day," she said. "You have been helping, cooking, cleaning, changing diapers. You have been kind. You have been patient. You have been listening. I've seen you turn away calls to spend time with us. I've seen you ignore meetings to be here. I see you trying." Toby nodded. "I am trying," he said softly. "And I've seen you change," she continued. "I've seen you speak kindly to your mother. I've seen you apologize to your sisters and your workers. I've seen you stand up for me when someone made a rude comment. I've seen you donate to shelters where women like me might go. I've seen you talk to young men about respect and pride. I have seen you become a better man." Toby's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," he whispered. Nneka smiled gently. "But," she said, and his heart skipped. "Change doesn't erase the past. We still have scars. We still have memories. We still have pain. You can't promise to never hurt me again. You are human. You will make mistakes. And I am human too. I will sometimes push you away even when my heart says stay. But I'm willing to try. I'm willing to open the door a little wider." Toby's eyes widened. "Are you saying—" "I'm saying," she interrupted with a small laugh, "that we can start again, slowly, without pressure, without rushing. We can see if love grows again, not because of guilt or pity, but because of choice. We can build trust again, not because of fear, but because of honesty. We can raise our son together, not as strangers or enemies, but as partners." Toby smiled, tears falling. He reached for her hand. He held it gently. "I would like that," he whispered. "I would be honored." Nneka squeezed his hand. "One more thing," she said. "We will not hide. We will not pretend. We will tell our son the truth about us when he is old enough. We will show him what forgiveness looks like. We will teach him that people make mistakes. We will teach him that pride can ruin lives. We will teach him that love is not always perfect, but it can heal if you let it." Toby nodded. "We will," he said. "We will be honest. We will be kind. We will be better." They smiled at each other. It wasn't the same smile they had shared years ago under a mango tree. It was a new smile, born from pain and growth. It was a smile of two people who had been broken, and were now putting the pieces back together. A few weeks later, they gathered with friends and family to celebrate Chisom's naming ceremony. It was a simple, joyful event. There were no grand halls, no golden chairs. They held it in Nneka's small yard. Neighbors brought food. Children ran around, laughing. Toby held Chisholm, dressed in a tiny lace outfit. He introduced him to everyone. "This is Chisholm," he said proudly. "He reminds us that God is with us." Necker stood beside him. She wore a simple gown. She looked radiant. She laughed when the baby cried. She wiped tears when people sang. She felt full of love, pain, hope, and peace. All at once, she looked at Toby and saw a partner, not a stranger. She looked at Chisholm and saw the future. Dell was not there. He was in prison, serving his sentence. Kemi was not there. She was starting over somewhere else. She had sent a message a few days before, saying she was in therapy and learning to forgive herself. She wished them well. She said she would try to be better. Naneka read the message and wished her healing. She had let go of anger. She wanted everyone to heal. As the sun set on the naming ceremony, Toby stood up to speak. He held the microphone loosely, his voice steady. "Thank you all for being here," he said. "Thank you for supporting Naneka when I didn't. Thank you for helping us. Thank you for loving our son. I know I have hurt some of you. I know I have disappointed you. I can't undo what I did, but I promise to be better. I promise to be honest. I promise to listen. I promise to love. I promise to raise Chisholm with respect and kindness. I promise to treat Naneka with the honor she deserves." The crowd clapped. Mama Toby wiped her tears and shouted, "Amen!" Chima cheered. Auntie Bissy clapped loudly. The neighborhood children shouted, "Baby Chisholm," and laughed. Later that night, as everyone went home, Toby sat on the porch with Naneka. They rocked in simple chairs. Chisholm slept in his crib inside. The night was quiet. They heard crickets and a distant car passing. They felt the cool breeze on their faces. Naneka turned to Toby. "Do you think we can do this?" she asked softly. He looked at her, his face lit by the moon. "Yes," he said simply. "Not because it will be easy, but because we will try. We will talk. We will listen. We will apologize when we need to. We will forgive when we can. We will love our son and each other the best way we know how." She smiled. "We will see," she said again. But her smile was bigger, more hopeful. He reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. She intertwined her fingers with his. They sat like that, quiet, under the stars. They weren't perfect. They weren't trying to be. They were just two people, given a second chance, choosing to walk together. And as they sat, they heard Chisholm stir and cry lightly. They both stood up quickly, laughing, and went inside. They leaned over the crib together, looking at their son, and whispered soothing words. They were partners. They were parents. They were imperfect people, making something beautiful out of broken pieces. They knew there would be hard days ahead. But they also knew that truth and love could build something strong. So they held each other close, held their son closer, and whispered, "Tomorrow is another day. We will face it together."